So we're going to talk about a very, very cool game, or interesting. I haven't played it, so I shouldn't call it cool, but very interesting. It's called Icarus No Rescue. So I'm going to start right off the bat by playing you a cool 2 videos. The first is a trailer that was the announcement trailer where they had actors to kind of give you the lore background of it. And it's going to roll right into the second trailer, which is a gameplay sort of thing from the PC Gamer, where they show like actual gameplay footage. Because I think so I love when companies say, hey, here's our lore stuff, and they give you cool background and flavor text or flavor video or flavor whatever of the game. I love and respect that. But I also sometimes will see certain trailers and go, okay, that's nice. Now show me what it actually is going to be when I play it. So we've got both put together, and as soon as that's done playing, we're going to go through the panel and have people kind of give their thoughts and interesting ideas. And I know Jade's been playing it so on those special weekends, so we're going to get an insider's view of what the game is actually like. Please to enjoy.
Icarus was supposed to be a second Earth, some kind of paradise, brought to you by the best scientific minds in the universe. Yeah, right.
You know, wonder they called it Icarus. Big planet-sized dream that came crashing down.
They had no idea what they were in for. No one did.
It up. Pure and simple.
I've done a lot of crazy in my time, eh? But Icarus, that was next level. If you couldn't find food, you died. If you couldn't find oxygen, you died. If you couldn't find shelter from the storms, you died.
Mo, she was an engineer, xeno-engineer. She was sent with the team to terraform the place, so... yeah, she was there when it all went to hell.
The other guys, they left as soon as they could. But not Mo. That wasn't her style.
She was there to make money. Like the rest of us.
People died on Icarus all the time, you know? You just tried not to think about it.
What happened to her was no accident, no way.
Well, the journey to Icarus was brutal. It was 4 light years from Earth, 30 trillion miles, and 2 years in long sleep. I mean, talk about jet lag.
We were the first cohort. We were the first wave of cowboys. You know, it was a whole new planet. It was unreal. Then reality kicked in.
Oh, they opened up Icarus to prospectors when all the terraforming went. So I signed on as soon as I could.
She offered to drop with us. She wanted to show us around like was it her apartment or something.
Well, I figure she just wanted to see how we do on the first drop.
It was like going back in time and seeing the Earth 1 million years ago.
The trees, the plants, the animals, they're from Earth. I mean, the bio team had adapted them after the terraforming went to but Jesus Christ, it does your head in at first. Outside the zone, it was different.
People always think that we had a bunch of advanced tech up there, but we had nothing. We spent everything just trying to get there. We're like cave people in spacesuits, those first few drops. If we needed shelter or tools or something, well, we had to make it ourselves.
I barely made it back to the dropship alive that first time. Yeah, I got better, of course. I mean, Mo taught me some She taught me how to build shelters, find oxygen. But the best thing she taught me was, you got to respect that planet, not to fear it.
She was smart. I mean, cocky as hell, but look, she'd been part of the terraforming group, right? So she knew the planet inside and out. I mean, literally, right?
She spoke about it all the time, you know, about the first time terraforming it wasn't going to work. And about finding the first exotics.
I'm just saying, doesn't it feel like a coincidence that they declared the planet uninhabitable just when they discovered the most valuable material in the universe? Weird, eh? Hey, I ain't complaining. I did okay out of it.
It was the exotics that killed the terraforming. Screwed with the enzymes. Then again, they changed everything. I mean, without the exotics, there never would have been a first cohort. Because it was all about the exotics. You find them, you sell them back at the station, you get more gear, you go back down, find more, drop, survive, and repeat.
On Icarus, a handful of exotics would get you a new suit, a radar, a rifle. But on Earth, it would buy you anything you wanted.
I talked about her mum and her brother all the time. The kind of life she could give them thanks to the exotics she'd found.
She didn't stay because she needed the money. She'd made her money. She stayed because she loved it. We all did. It was addictive. She was addicted.
The second you felt comfortable on the surface, you take your eye off the mission clock. And that's how people die.
It happened all the time, eh? You're like, people would miss their window to get back to their ship, and then there was no way they'd get back to the station, and that was it. Never see them again.
Way to die, that's for sure.
The drop started off fine.
None of us had ever been to that part of the planet before, not even Mo.
Prospecting in unfamiliar areas, I hated it. But there was always more exotics in undiscovered areas, so none of us knew what to expect. Not back then, but Mo, she was like a moth to a flame.
Didn't even notice she'd wandered off.
If you're asking me if I feel guilty for what happened to her, I do.
We looked for her as long as we could. But, you know, there's a big storm coming, and you don't hang about for those ever.
A bear attack is my guess. The forests were full of them. I mean, anything could have happened.
It wasn't an accident. Mo didn't come back because she didn't want to come back. She knew she couldn't go home, not after what had happened to that planet and the part she had played in it.
Look, Mo didn't want to die. She was right where she wanted to be.
Ma, John, 你们好. How you guys? You got a girlfriend yet, bro? Sorry, I haven't been in touch. My bad. Just want to say that I'm fine. Today is my last drop. I wish that maybe if the terraforming had worked, you could have been here. Not what people could have been here. I miss you guys. Thank you. You know, I'll see you guys soon. Huh?
This is Chris with PC Gamer, and I recently got to play Icarus, the survival game in development from ROCKETWORKZ, the studio founded by DayZ creator Dean Hall. Icarus takes place on an alien planet, with players traveling down from orbit to the planet's surface in order to acquire resources and bring them back up to their space station. In the clips you're about to see, Dean Hall tells me about the first chapter of Icarus called First Cohort, where players will visit a forest biome searching for expensive materials to sell back up in space. Hall walks me through some of the early survival systems like gathering wood and stone, crafting weapons, and hunting wildlife, and he explains why ROCKETWORKZ went with a handcrafted map rather than a procedurally generated one.
We very much leaned in to that PvE side of things. You know, really being you against the planet. And I guess that's where the storm comes from. So storms on Icarus are really dangerous. So we have all the usual gathering mechanics. So as you're going along, you can definitely gather some stuff. This is a building that a tree fell on. So, the damage mechanics are pretty brutal. To save space in our dropship, we've taken the minimum amount with us, and we're hoping to find our fortune. So every tree, every bush in this entire map is harvestable, and let's say there's a lot. So if you walk up, these are all voxel rocks as well. So you're really just trying to iterate on that feeling of harvesting and make everything as satisfying as possible. So we're using very basic tools. Obviously, they can get a lot better over time. So whack the tree a little bit and make sure it doesn't fall over on anyone.
Pretty good.
And then chop it up. So we've actually gone through and made a handcrafted map because we really just wanted to have you that real sense of exploration and everywhere being different. So, we've come down onto this drop. There's different kinds of missions you can do, but in this case, we'd say, come down to get these exotics, these special materials that people have found. So Icarus First Cohort is our first release, and that is basically the prospectors going into the safest biomes. And over time, the biomes that get unlocked will be progressively more dangerous. I'm going to judge you on your ability to hit this shot. Good job. Do you have a hunting knife? Oh, actually, no. So we'll carry this one back and we'll skin it at the bench. Whoa.
Whole bunch more deer.
Yeah, there's a wolf hunting deer over there. One of the challenges with procedural generation is once you've visited one biome, you've kind of visited them all. And that's why by hand authoring the map, we really wanted to make it feel like you were actually exploring as we'd intended. And even see here, the animals, we've got this deer's got a little baby deer beside it. We really tried to just make everything alive. They have their own life cycle they go through. They'll go find water when they're thirsty. They'll go find food when they're hungry. Someone will cruelly kill that deer's child. So yeah, storms on Icarus are savage. The animals will get freaked out by storms as well. And the most gentlest storms are actually in the forest biome. As you get to the other biomes, they get progressively worse. So yeah, we're fairly lucky. This is not too bad a storm. They get pretty bad. And they can set the forest on fire, lightning, set your buildings on fire.
Thanks for watching, and check back with us soon. We'll have plenty more coverage of Icarus in the near future.
All right, so that is Icarus No Rescue by ROCKETWORKZ. So they describe it as Icarus is a session-based PvE survival game for up to 8 co-op players or solo. Explore a savage alien wilderness in the aftermath of a terraforming gone wrong. Survive long enough to mine exotic matter, then return to orbit to craft more advanced tech. Meet your deadline or be left behind forever. The game is scheduled to launch November 20th, and pre-order purchasers are eligible for beta weekends that they're starting as of a week ago. So it's happening now. Eligible for beta weekends between now and then testing the different areas. The official site link is in the show notes. It's surviveicarus.com. Official Icarus on Steam, you can wishlist it. Link is in the show notes. Icarus on YouTube compilation page. Link is in the show notes. And the official Icarus Discord. Link is in the show notes. We just gave you, because again, I think it's very important that you not just sort of do the, how do I say it? Don't just show the, it's very, very cool that a company is ballsy enough to do a story announcement trailer and they have professional actors acting out a story thing. That's awesome. I don't want to shit on that by any means. I want to salute that. That's showing me that you care about your story and you want to present it in an interesting way. Mwah, chef's kiss. I like that. But you also need to show players gameplay footage. If you just show a group of prospective players only machinima or only actors or only whatever and zero gameplay, I feel like, just me personally, my opinion, you're only telling half the story and people are kind of like, well, what do I get involved in this? Do I not? I don't know, because what's the game going to be like when I get to it? So to me, I wanted to highlight both aspects, and I did. I put together 2 trailers, and now I want to go down the cast and get everybody's feelings on this, because I feel like we've given a good, for prospective people who are in the chat, who are watching this video, who have never heard of Icarus before, I want you to see A, a really good lore thing, and B, actual gameplay footage, and then C, hear from the cast their opinions so that you can kind of, decide for yourself, hey, this looks good, this doesn't look good. Again, this is coming out in just a couple months, and pretty much every weekend now they're doing special weekends for people that pre-order, that you get to check a desert biome, a forest biome, a swamp biome, a ice biome, or whatever. So let's go around the cast. Let's start with Roy. What did you think of all this?
Well, let me start by saying I like this genre. I mean, I've played a lot of Ark and The Long Dark. I played much less of Valheim and 7 Days to Die, but I've sort of got this smattering of understanding of the different mechanics, and I was sort of watching the second video with more than the first, but and I do like the first, setting up the sort of the headcanon and the lore. That was cool. But what I was looking for in the second video was what's differentiating this, because there's a lot of competition in that space now, and so I was really trying to figure out. I like that they have, for example, the voxel rocks. That was cool, and the tree fall. I think someone mentioned in the chat that that some of the stuff's like Valheim, but I'll be very interested to hear from Jade, who's played it, because I'm not sure that I got out of that video really what the secret sauce is. It looks fun. And I was trying to figure out, given how competitive that space is, what's the little bit extra they're doing that's gonna, maybe it's the countdown clock, I don't know, but what's the bit extra that's gonna make that even more fun if I had all those games to choose from?
Right on. The things that to me seem super interesting are, number one, this is not a PvP situation. This is entirely PvE. You can either go on your own or go with a group of co-ops, and you're dropped in a specific biome with a specific time limit, and it's gather as much of the exotic resource as you can, build up what you need to in that time. It's a similar thing to 7 Days to Die, in where 7 Days to Die, it's like zombie horde is coming on the 7th day, build up your defenses to protect against it. This is different in that it's build up your defenses to survive for your X time limit, explore to the point where you can find Y exotic resource, and make sure that you get back in time for the Z time limit shuttle takeoff, or cool, great, you got a bunch of stuff and you got a cool house, and you're dead because you missed the takeoff shuttle. And it just kind of comes in wave after wave, which is super interesting. You know what? It just occurred to me, I didn't get through the rest of the stuff. I'm going to go through the rest of the stuff, and then I will call on the rest of the people. So we also have Icarus, the making of Icarus, episode 1, woodcutting simulator, which is a very cool video. In this video, it's a very frank message from the developer of the game, discussing what goes into making a AAA survival game and lessons they learned. He is very open and honest about sort of like, I think we failed on 7 Days to Die in this, and this aspect, and so we learned from that, and we're making this thing, which is like, wow, it's weird when you hear a game developer talking openly about, like, here are things we learned, here are successes we had, here are failures we had. You never see that, and it's so I respect the hell out of Star Citizen, because it's one of the few projects where you see them openly discuss their failures, and this is a similar thing. Katie. So also, wait, sorry, real quick. In the show notes, we have the official site for surviveicarus.com. We have the site to wish list it on Steam, and we have the Icarus YouTube compilation page and the official game Icarus Discord. So all of that will be there for you. Check it out for yourself. See if it's something you're interested. Katie.
The tech looks very good, and the intro, the kind of lore building, I thought it was pretty cool. It reminded me a lot of the opening sequence to District 9. You know, you got people kind of like recounting a kind of like, you know, I thought that was pretty good. It's not a genre I'm interested in. Like, I have no interest in playing this whatsoever. It's tangentially space related, but it's like, it's just not like the survival genre as a whole. I played it when it was a new thing with like Daisy and games like that, and I think it looks very good. I think that people who like that genre will probably very much enjoy this game, and the tech is very cool. But for me personally, no, it doesn't hold a lot of interest.
Okay, me personally, I found it interesting that there was so much about this game that I loved, and the aspects that I loved about it were the ways that it was similar to No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, it's a massive amount of planets, and it's survival, build a base, build whatever. So a lot of that was similar to No Man's Sky. Here's the one thing that took me out of it. You're telling me I'm flying to Alpha Centauri. I'm flying a couple light years away, and when I land, I'm going to be taking a piece of leather and tying a rock to a stick and making a hatchet. Like, wait, what? That's the one. But I get it. I get that it's the conceit of the game, but that's the one thing where it's like, wait, I'm flying at the speed of, or close to the speed of light, and then when I get there, I'm using caveman equipment and building my way up. Like, you have to suspend a little disbelief. So I think some people will have a problem with that. Other people will be like, no, I'm good. I'm buying into the concept. I'm good with starting with a stick tied with a piece of leather to a rock. But I know that I'm going to eventually work my way up to pew pew space lasers. Like, okay, whatever. Lady Rain, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, Dean knows his stuff. ROCKETWORKZ has been developing games since 2016. I would argue, when they mentioned 7 Days to Die, I mean, that's the 40th out of 40,000 games on Steam. 7 Days to Die right now is the 40th most played game on Steam. And in, the top 20, we have Ark Survival Evolved. So survival games are really popular and they're getting played. And like Katie said, I like the tech. I like the storytelling. But I don't see anything that's going to stop me from playing Fallout 4 on survival, or The Long Dark, which has no gimmicks and is just pure hardcore survival. Or, again, 7 Days to Die, which lets me have that Minecraftian experience and all that kind of good stuff. So, looks cool. I'm not interested. I wish I was.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing. We put it out there. It's a flavor that a lot of people will like, a lot of people won't. There's no shame in that game. You play what you like, but because it is a survival game, but it's a space survival game, I kind of really wanted to cover it. And now, bringing up the rear, I saved you for last because you were the one of us that has actual experience in the game. Jade, I want you to do me a favor, and as much as we all talked about it, I want you to take twice as long and tell us your actual experiences and thoughts as a player of the game.
Okay. So I came into this having never played a survival game other than No Man's Sky. I almost said No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky on survival mode. I did that a couple of times, but I wanted to get back to my game save, so I didn't spend a lot of time at it. So that's where I'm going to come from with this. Those of you who've played other more fleshed out survival games, I can totally understand where you're coming from, because this it is probably nothing special compared to the names I've heard that I heard are really popular. But it is a space survival game, and I'm drawn to space games, and it is a lot of fun. I jumped in with like 5, 6 other people as part of the Soul Citizens, and we were playing it last weekend when they went live, and it's pretty amazing. And you basically descend onto the planet in a capsule, and then you get out and you have to go and find resources like any other survival game, I assume, and then craft things. What impressed me was, for instance, you have to get protection from storms, and I tried something that works in No Man's Sky, but I wasn't sure if it would work in this game. Was hollowing out a big rock so that you had some kind of shelter, and it actually worked. Like Fist to Face is like, "You think that's gonna work?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's food for science, right?" So that actually worked. There's an attention to detail with the whole voxel system that they've built, where you can manipulate your environment and cut down trees and all that. So that's all of the good. It's a fun game. It is PvE, so if you're more PvE oriented and you like to just be able to jump into something really quick with friends, it's not bad at all. It's kind of addicting, to be honest. But then again, that's me. I don't know if I'd have played those other games if this would have the same appeal. Okay, so that's the good.
Mm-hmm.
On the bad side, there's a few more things. You made a great point, Kai, about the suspension of disbelief with regards to you've traveled 4 light years and now you're starting out like a caveman. I was willing, though, to accept that premise. The thing with suspension of disbelief is the more that you are asked to do it, the harder it becomes to do. So we're on this planet where we're running out of oxygen, but we're encountering bears, deer, higher wolves, higher, complex life that looks exactly like its Earth counterpart. And we're in a forest, presumably photosynthesizing, providing oxygen. So why are we running out of it? If they wanted to really do this as a, quote, space survival game, they should have made the planet more alien and the creatures more alien. Because then there's less you have to suspend disbelief on. It makes no sense whatsoever that you're running out of oxygen, but a bear, which consumes a lot of oxygen, right? Doesn't, right? So I'd hope that they change those creatures before it's released, and maybe make the planet look a bit more alien. I mean, okay, and on that note, they put a big gas giant in the sky. One of the first things I noticed as an astronomer, I'm looking at the sky, right? I see a big gas giant, and I see another thing that looks like a moon. And I'm assuming, okay, it's a moon. I'm even watching like the motion of it during the day-night cycle. And I'm like, we're a moon of that gas giant. It's like we're Avatar or something, right? Yeah, so like, then I watched the trailer after having already played, and they're all calling it a planet. And so I'm like, okay, so there's some holes in their lore that they're going to have to tighten up, I think. But other than that, it's a fun game.
Yeah, that makes a very, very good point when you think about it. It's like, yeah, how does that work? Yeah. And the aspect of how does it work with regard to, it says limited time, like, so it's a session or whatever. It's a limited time until your capsule takes back off, but it's a co-op whatever. Is it that it's for one game session? Like when you load in with like you and Fist to Face and Pops and Griff, can you say like, oh, I want to be 6 hours or 8 hours, or does it tell you have this much playtime and then you have to get out?
That's an interesting question. So when we first, all jumped in, it was assumed, we just kind of assumed, Griff had started his session first and we all joined on him. And we just assumed, okay, we need Griff to be here. But then I and Fist to Face jumped in on our own. And we saw that we spawned in right where we had, been when we logged out. And you can do that before you have like the log out bed. But yeah, it didn't seem like the timer or any of that was, I don't know, it didn't affect our gameplay. We have yet to see a capsule take off.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
still within that time, I assume.
Hmm.
I think we're going to probably play again tomorrow. I know we're playing Star Citizen tonight, by the way. Anybody who wants to join Soul Citizens playing with us tonight, please do so. Join the Discord. There's going to be a bunch of us in there playing after this show. But yeah, like, I think we have yet to encounter that time limit. So they give you a generous amount of time to build up your skills. You know, you do have to, like, I guess a lot of games, you have to build up your skills. You have to kind of like level up so you can get the next layer on the tech tree and all of that. But we've yet to encounter the capsules taking off. Oh,
So-
by the way, if a capsule comes in, it can land on you. It can actually, like, one almost came down on one of us. So watch the skies if you have somebody joining you.
Not only does if it comes down on you, if it comes down even close to you, you'll die from the, like, you know, rocket flames of it coming down. Like, yeah. So I definitely got from the one trailer that it's like, the point is you get through this evolution, you go back up, you spend your accumulated resource of whatever fucking quantanium or whatever the rareness anium, and then you use that to get upgraded tech and weapons and tools and whatnot, and then you come back for the next round. So I would be very interested to see once you guys get through this evolution and get back up and are able to spend your, you know, weird anium to get the next stuffs, how the second evolution plays out. So yeah, we'll definitely keep up and look into that. It, at the very least, it looks interesting, and we have to see how it plays out. Rain, you have a point?
Yeah, just to back Jade up real quick, I think the reason why I'm not impressed by this is we have something much more closer to home, and the idea of sending people to settle 140 million miles away on Mars is going to take multiple years. Launches with rovers, reconnaissance, coming up with landing zones, having rovers that are launched in advance to remotely build the settlement before the settlers even get there. And if we're talking about space survival, like, space is beautiful and it's dangerous and it's gorgeous in and of any additional weird gimmicks that we're throwing on it. And as somebody that worked on Kerbal Space Program and talked with, you know, had a lot of good times talking with JPL and working with people from NASA and things like that, like, I don't get why they went this direction. I don't want to bag on it. Dean Hall, ROCKETWORKZ, good team, good group. They know what they're doing, but I'm just really confused why they went this route with it. Is kind of my thing there.
I think they're writing the tale of the whole, you know, what's the Avatar, Pandora, where you go and you get the unobtainium.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going here for this crazy resource. But also, I like the idea. I do like the idea of, like, we're going to terraform X planet. Oh shit, it didn't work. Now what? Like, that's interesting. I don't understand how you have forests full of trees that you can chop down but no oxygen. Like, if you have the thing that will sustain the life of a plant to get it to grow high enough that it's an 80-foot tall redwood, seems to me like that means you've got carbon dioxide in the atmosphere with the right sort of levels of nitrogen that you can create oxygen. But, like, I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm a Marine in my underwear. What do I know? Roy, you're up.
Yeah, it's just a couple of quick random things. I mean, to solve for what you just spoke of, I'm reminded of the indie movie Prospect with Pedro Pascal. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a, you know, they're prospecting a planet, and I don't want to give too much of it away. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it.
Netflix.
It's an awesome movie. Totally. But the thing, the mechanism they use is there's, it's like allergens in the air. Like you'll basically go into anaphylactic shock if you take your helmet off. So you're not so much as on an oxygen tank as you are as, like, kind of like a filter that runs out after a while. So that's how they time it, but still have a lush ecosystem with giant trees and animals and stuff like that. That's how they get around that, and that's scientifically believable.
But wait. So you're saying that, like, the squirrels and the bears and the deer, they don't have that same allergen?
Because they're native to the planet.
Okay, I dig it.
That's the idea, right? So you're basically allergic to the planet. is the premise, or incompatible, biologically incompatible with it to some degree.
Okay.
So maybe that's a workaround. I don't know. The thing I was thinking of too is two other quick things. One, maybe the timer changes as you get into the different biomes. Maybe that's how that works. Because I got the gist from the video that this is sort of like the bunny slope biome that you land in first. And I don't know, the thing, and this is maybe from the long dark enthusiast coming out, but I would love to be able to have like a mode where I'm intentionally missing that ship because I've gotten so good at this. It's almost like an Iron Man, some kind of Iron Man mode where I'm gonna resist whatever comes after that ship takes off, and there'll be some reward for that.
But like, doesn't that mean you're dead? It never comes back and you're dead?
Well, if people are coming back time after time, then you're going to catch the next one, right?
No, well, I mean, if you then you're in a weird sort of The Martian, where you're in an experience where it's like the next one is coming down in a different location, and you have to find a way to trek over.
Maybe it just seemed to me like it's like a huge challenge, and yes, it's a great challenge to get to the ship and get out. But wow, couldn't it be like a whole next level thing if like I'm intentionally going to miss that ship because I'm prepared.
I'm digging it. All right, we're going to go with Katie, and then we're moving on to Star Citizen Weekly.
Yeah, just to mirror what Roy said, really. You could go even simpler than that and just change the composition of the atmosphere. Just have, rather than oxygen deficiency, carbon dioxide toxicity. Just increase the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, so a toxic level, and just say the local life has adapted to it. So regarding the comments about why not do something like settling Mars, that would be really cool. I think that would be really good. But you can't have bears then. You can't kind of. And there are certain other space games that lean heavily on it. No, it's got to be 100% realistic. It's got to be geologically accurate. And well, sometimes some people just want a cool adventure. Just give me a cool adventure. Like, I don't mind if it's not 100% accurate. Just make it a cool adventure.
Katie, how dare you talk shit on Space Invaders that way? I have that Galaga was a great game.